Hello, my name is Strokefish, and like many, I've been playing Pokemon for as long as I can remember. As I got older, I still thoroughly enjoyed the games, but I wanted to find ways to spice things up a bit. So, 7 years ago, I joined my very first Pokemon Draft League. For those of you who haven't heard of Draft League before, let me fill you in a little bit. Like fantasy football, which has captured the hearts of sports fans, Pokemon Draft League follow a similar format of drafting a team of players, in our case Pokemon, to earn the most amount of points by battling other teams over the course of 8 weeks. Once a Pokemon gets drafted, it can no longer be used by any of the other players. In our league, Draft Classic, 20 players will draft a team of 10 Pokemon that are in the Pokedex of the newest installment of the series, Scarlet and Violet, including Mons that are in the game's code but have yet to be released via Pokemon Home. We follow a snaked order, so the person who went first in the first round goes last in the next. Our team is the Chicago Bewears, and unfortunately, I was stuck with the 10th pick. This meant that I was right smack dab in the middle. From my experience in draft, having a middle pick sucks because it means that you can never get any of the top tier threats like Chien-Pao, Palafin, or Iron Valiant, and it's harder to build cores without an early pick in the next round. However, we made the best of it, and with that, I made my first pick of the Draft Classic Season 10. Every team needs its quarterback, a staple mon that wills its team to victory and holds the team together. While I wasn't able to snag the aforementioned top threats, there were a surprising amount of good Pokemon still on the board. There was Great Tusk, Iron Bundle, and Chi-Yu, but I decided to go a different route. Our first round pick was Tornadus Therian. Torn T boasts incredible stats, the best ability in the game Regenerator, and a solid move pool including its new signature move Bleakwind Storm, hitting for 100 base power and 80% accuracy in comparison to Hurricane's 110 and 70. It can be a sweeper with Nasty Plot, a breaker with Life Orb, or defensive pivot. Speaking of pivoting, let's talk about one of my favorite aspects of this season of Draft Classic. In Gen 9, the new mechanic is Teracelization, where a Pokemon can change into any one of the 18 types once per match. We operate on a points-based system that evaluates how viable a Pokemon is and assigns them a point value accordingly. Pokemon like Dragonite reach a maximum of 20 points, and lower tier threats like Pyroar are 4 points, for example. We as players were given 100 points to spend on a team of 10 Pokemon, but here's the catch. Any Pokemon can be given the option to Terastallize, but at an extra cost of 50% of its value. You can also Terastallize multiple Pokemon on your team if you have the budget. This allows for a lot of creative team building and gives a ton of viability to lower tier Pokemon that only cost an extra 1 or 2 points to Terra. With that being said, I decided to Terra my Tornadus T for an extra 10 points. This was a hefty cost, but considering Torn T is one of the best Terra Pokemon, it was well worth it in my opinion. Terra allows Torn to gain new stabs to hit otherwise pesky checks like Rotom Heat. Even one free turn with its 120 base speed allows Torn to become an even more immediate threat. On top of that, it can become a better defensive type in tandem with Regenerator, depending on the matchup. Now that we've talked about how Terra works in our league, let's discuss my next few picks. In the second round, I needed a way to remove hazards for Torn, but also set them up. The mon that fills this role plus gave a decent defensive synergy with Torn was a new Paradox form Iron Treads. While a bit underwhelming on the offensive end with 112 base attack, Iron Treads is incredibly fast and bulky with access to a vast move pool including Knockoff, Ice Spinner, Body Press, and Endeavor, and adds even more pivoting with Volt Switch, which will be a common theme of my main core. My third round pick was a bit of an impulsive one. There was still a lot of good Pokemon on the board, and while I planned to take some of the more coveted budget picks early, I had to bite, taking Urshifu Rapid Strike. Urshifu is a beast. It's not as good as its single strike form with Terra Dark Wicked Blows, but it's also 5 points cheaper. I like the synergy with Iron Thorns and Torn, and gave me a super hard hitter on the physical side to pair with special offense. Urshifu was given a lot of new tools this generation, including Sword Stance, Trailblaze, and U-Turn, as well as the new item Punching Glove, which gives a 10% boost to punching moves and negates contact. This includes the signature move Surging Strikes, and can be a good check to Rocky Helmet Pokemon trying to abuse Urshifu. I liked it as a great breaker with Band, Revenge Killer with Aqua Jet or Scarf, or a sweeper with Bulk Up or SD. Its speed tier also potentially forces base 100s to creep for it, where they otherwise would have gone adamant or modest after not being able to outspeed Treads. Urshifu will make a wonderful partner to my fourth round Pokemon, Pelipper. And I think you know where I'm going with this, a Rain Team. Now sure, a rain team in OU is frustrating and kinda low skill, but in draft it's harder to pull off. With opponents knowing it's going to come, they can prepare accordingly to counter it. Especially since the pieces of rain take up team slots to function, it can spell disaster when you're forced to run it week to week. So the key is to try to craft a team that can function in and out of rain, but has that viable playstyle looming regardless. Pelly also isn't a bad Pokemon in its own right, with access to knockoff, U-turn, and recovery and roost. Unfortunately, no defog this gen means hazards will be a bit more problematic, but nothing some boots can't solve. Also, Pelipper is by no means weak, firing off stab water boosted attacks and 100% accurate hurricanes to boot. It makes Urshifu even stronger and Torn more reliable with its stab. Now, comes my coup de grace to all the other drafts. My 5th pick was the newly released Basculegion, without last respects of course. Kingdra better, they said. It will never be Gen 8 Barraskewda, they said. I'm here to prove that Basculegion is a monster, both in and out of rain. Not only does it boast an attack stat 7 base points higher than Floatzel, but a viable second ability in adaptability that makes it so any defensive checks can wave crash Basculegion goodnight. On top of that, it can act essentially as 2 mons in 1 with its female form. With 100 base special attack, it has higher offense than Kingdra, granted without the 130 base power second stab, but a status hex does come close. It even gets agility to boost its middling 78 base speed on both special and physical adaptability sets, or Scarf to bluff Swift Swim. Overall, I'm really excited to use this mon, and I hope it puts in a ton of work this season. Number 6, and rounding out the main core of the draft, comes another mon I was really excited to use, even though it's been around since the first generation, Jolteon. With new access to Calm Mind, it can act as a viable cleaner and force a lot of speed creeping that Torn couldn't quite do on its own. Volt Absorb was critical as well to somewhat dissuade electric attacks that hit 4 of my current team members super effectively. You may be saying, dude, Jolteon sucks now. It has no way to hit grounds or grass types. And you would be right if we weren't also investing points to Terra Jolteon as well. There are a lot of viable Terras, including flying to avoid ground attacks, hit grass types, and retain an immunity to electric attacks. Terra Ice to do the same thing but also hit grounds. Water to dish out stab rain boosted attacks, and even electric to hit even harder with 100% accurate thunders in the rain. This was an incredible low tier pickup that will serve us well for the team. Now come the bench warmers. But like the recently swept Los Angeles Lakers, we have a good amount of depth. First up is our 7th round pick, Hisuian Qwilfish. I really wanted to pick up Overquill, but on top of not having enough points and getting sniped from us the round before, ironically by a player who wanted Jolteon, go figure, I settled for his baby cousin. Hisuian Qwilfish is not bad at all though. It gave us 2 critical types in Dark and Poison that could simultaneously function on Rain if it wanted. Spikes and T-Spikes are obvious. Boasting Intimidate and the potential Eviolite means this Pokemon lives most hits to get up a couple layers. It's pretty fast too at base 85 to outspeed many bulkier leads. With T-Spikes and the new move Barb Barrage, it has great synergy with Hex Basculegion and a mon we drafted later. Number 8 is a weird one, but hear me out. Appleton. I know, it's weird, but considering I needed a way to not only take the water moves that I'm boosting by a mon that isn't my sweepers, I wanted a way to beat those bulky waters and electrics that could rain on my parade. I like that it gives me Dragon Stab as well. On top of that, I can also give Appleton the ability to Terra, which means that I'm not bound to its terrible defensive typing. I can go Terra Steel or Terra Fairy with Recover to make this Pokemon a nuisance to take down. At this point, I have 2 points left, which means we're relegated to pick 2 mons from the bottom of the barrel 1-pointers. From that, I was probably able to get the best 2 possible, maybe not for my draft specifically, but good nonetheless. Round 9, we snag Haunter, a strong special attacker with viable specs, nasty plots, or scarf sets, and great coverage in Focus Blast, Energy Bowl, T-Bolt, and Gleam, with utility and T-Spikes and Trick to punish would-be special walls from switching in. Sure, we already have Basculegion and Qwilfish, but neither of which are notoriously known for clicking Ghost and Poison moves. Given Ghost is one of the best offensive typings in the game, Haunter will be a nice sleeper pick that could catch a few players off guard. Finally, we have our final pick, and this one is a doozy. You ready? It's Wishcash. Another water type, you say? Well, not only does Wishcash provide an electric immunity, but it also gives us another hazard stacker as it gets access to both rocks and spikes this gen. With Oblivious, it can't even be taunted, but its hidden ability Hydration will be incredibly spicy on Rain. It, of course, notoriously also gets Dragon Dance to double as an offensive threat as well. So, that's the squad. Overall, I think our draft went really well. Sure, there are a few kinks, but I can't remember the last time I had this much fun crafting and drafting a team that had a lot of Pokemon I've never used before. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video, as I poured a lot of effort into making this the highest quality possible. I can't wait for you guys to follow the Chicago Bewears along our journey to hopefully make a run for the championship. Let's go Bewears.